Ms. Hinman. All right, so what we're working on today for our notes is last class we had our quadratic, we factored it, and we got our roots. So this time we're going backwards. We're going to be given our roots. We have to go up and make our equation that goes along with it. So what I have written up here for you are your steps that you need to follow when they ask you to do this. So step number 1 is you need to identify your zeros, which are also known as your roots. Because that is the first thing, is we need to know what those are. And you're going to write them as x equals whatever number it is. So wherever your roots are, you're going to write them as x equals that number. Step 2, you're going to set up 2 sets of parentheses with x in the first spots, and then set them equal to 0 when the roots are given, or to y if it's a picture. We'll go over that as we do our examples down below. We then have to change the signs of our roots when we plug them into the parentheses. Because if you remember, last class we would factor something. So let's say we had x plus 3 times x plus 1. When we set them equal to 0, what happened to our number? It became the opposite sign. So the same thing happens. This time we're going to have these roots. We have to put them in the parentheses, so you just have to change your sign again. You're then going to use distribution to multiply everything out. And then one last thing, if it's downward opening quadratic, you got to multiply times -1. And again, we'll go through those steps in our examples. So if we take a look at the first example, it's actually already been out for you. I identified my 2 roots. I had a root of x equals 3 and x equals -4. They gave us that. So I set up my parentheses with my x's in the front. Since there was no picture, it's set equal to 0. So anytime there's no picture, you always set it equal to 0 because you're writing an equation. It has to be equal to something. So equation has to equal something. So then, as I said, my +3 when I put it in there became a -3. My -4 when I put it in the parentheses becomes +4. So you got to change your signs when you put them in there and then multiply everything out. So that gave me my final answer of x squared plus x minus 12. So that was our equation for that one. Let's try the second one. First thing we need to do is identify our 2 roots. So we're going to start with x equals x equals. If we look at our graph, what are our roots? What's this first one over here on the left? -2, close. And our root over here on the right? 3. So there we go. X equals -2, x equals 3. There's our 2 roots. So our step number 2 tells us to set up our 2 sets of parentheses. Since I have a picture this time, I have to set it equal to y instead of a 0. X is going to go in the first spots of my parentheses. And then again, remember, our roots change signs. So this -2, when I put it in the parentheses, is going to become a +2. My +3 here is going to become a what? -3. So x plus 2, x minus 3. So now we need to multiply things out. So we got to do x times x gives me x squared. X times -3 gives us -3x. Now distribute your 2, so 2 times x gives us 2x. 2 times -3 gives us a -6. Still equals our y. So then one thing left to do. What do we need to do? Combine our like terms. We got that -3x and that 2x are our like terms there. So -3x plus 2x gives us -1x. Minus 6 equals our y. So then we can check this. Let's put this in our calculator and see if we can get the same picture. So I'm going to go to my y equals x squared minus x minus 6. That's the equation we got. If we look at the graph, is it the same as our picture? Yes. Yeah, so we got that one right. So there's our final answer. So let's try the third one. Again, so we're writing our equation. We got to do our roots first. So what are our two roots on that one? Yeah, -1 is one of them. Where's the other one? -4. So -1 and -4. So what would this one be equal to since we have the picture? Equal to y. And when I put my roots in there, I'm going to change my sign so I have x plus 1 and x plus 4. So I want you guys to go ahead and multiply that out. Did you guys get x squared plus 5x plus 4? Woo! So go ahead, type that in your calculator. Let's see if we get the same picture that's on that paper already. So everybody right now, under your y equals, type in x squared plus 5x plus 4. Let's make sure we did it correctly. Y equals x squared plus 5x plus 4. Is that the same picture? What? No. That's not the same picture. Do we have the same roots?
Yes.
Yes. So the one thing we have to do, because it's an upside down parabola, is you got to multiply everything times -1. That's the one extra step with an upside down one. So we get -x squared minus 5x minus 4 equals y. Now type this one in, see if you get the same picture. Let's have you check it. Where we right this time? Multiplying through that negative? Yeah, now we get the right picture. So you've got to remember that one extra step. Downwards, got to multiply times a negative. All right, so our last example, they give us our two roots. So I don't need to identify them. They're already there. So I'm going to set up my two sets of parentheses. No picture this time, so it's going to be equal to a 0 again. So then again, we got to change our sign. So x plus 7 times x plus 2. Let's have you go ahead and multiply it out. 0. So x squared plus 9x plus 14 equals 0. But this one, if you look right above our roots, what does it tell us about it? Downward. So we got to do what? Times -1. So -x squared minus 9x minus 14. That's our final answer.